I interviewed this doctor, Dr. Nirav Pandya, this weekend, and he was fascinating because he's very tuned in with the Niners. He's a fan. He knows what's going on, and he had really smart ideas, and he had solutions to offer. In particular, they should go easier in practice, longer, with more breaks in between, just a more leisurely practice to prepare the players for the marathon of the season. Do you think the 49ers watched the interview, and how do you think they took the suggestions?
Okay, before we get to that, I watched the interview with Iggy's mom. I was so impressed by the questions that Grant asked, by how the doctor responded, and by the journalism. You always want to move the conversation forward in journalism. Iggy got a doctor who could talk about these things and could give the Niners suggestions. If you haven't watched that, you have a treat in store for you to see that. Now,
he's the first person that has moved the 49ers injury conversation forward in 8 years. It's amazing.
It was a wonderful piece of journalism.
Thank you.
I was so excited. I called Iggy up to tell him how excited I was, and I retweeted it on my whatever. I linked it to my Twitter or whatever it is. Do I think the Niners watched it? Hell yes.
Yeah.
Now, did Kyle Shanahan watch it? I don't have the slightest idea how he thinks, what he does. You can, first of all, I think someone in that PR department is assigned to watch every one of your videos. Don't you get that feeling?
Yeah.
Now, if this person, he or she, had any brains, that person would have gone to someone higher and said, Grant's not trying to groin you on this. He actually had a reasonable doctor expert who has suggestions. Somebody in power ought to watch this. I don't know if that happened, but I sure hope it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's a real condemnation of their chain of command.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure they watched it. I put it on my YouTube. I put it on Sports Illustrated. It got pretty, I'm sure it got around. And I wonder if there were different responses from different people. I did a little research. What teams do nowadays to prevent injuries, they have a sports science department, and they put GPS trackers in the players' pads, and they know every single player, what kind of physical exertion they've done on that day and what kind of recovery they need. There's like a color-coded system. If they're in the red, they need to relax and all this stuff. The Niners do this. They have the GPS. They have all the technology. And I was looking, who's in charge of this sports science stuff on the Niners? It's Ben Peterson, the guy who's in charge of the entire training staff, the guy they hired 2 years ago from the NHL. Everyone said, well, why would they hire someone from the NHL? That's bizarre. Well, he was the head of sports science for the Philadelphia Flyers. And what he did that got him on the Niners' radar was reduce injuries. Apparently, the NHL has a higher injury rate than the NFL. He reduced them drastically on the Flyers. And you know what his method was? Lighter practices.
Just what the doctor said.
Just what the doctor said, which makes me think, okay, so they have the right guy in the building. They knew it. They hired him for the right reasons. It's his expertise. The problem isn't getting fixed. What's the problem then?
They're not listening.
They're not listening. Instead of maybe say Kyle, the guy who's in charge of organizing the practices. Listen to the guy you hired. This whole thing he did with the Flyers was to say, take it easy in practice. It's just practice.
And that's what the doctor said. They're doing too much in a concentrated period of time and too explosive. Now, again, I want to be careful because we want to be good journalists.
Yes.
We assume they're not listening.
It's a possible explanation.
It's a possible explanation.
It's also possible that the NHL guy's expertise doesn't translate to the NFL at all.
All of that. So Iggy and I are giving an interpretation, which is one of probably several interpretations. And it's the one we're pushing, but understand it's just hypothetical.
Right.
But Iggy, it seems like they got the right guy. And it makes you wonder if Kyle is so stubborn. And by the way, I think he's stubborn. Yeah. He's so stubborn that he gets the data and doesn't readjust.
Exactly. I mean, they have the technology, they have the data, they hired the guy whose expertise is to interpret it, and no change in the practice schedule, no solution to the injury thing. All the information in the world it can't help you if you don't do anything about it. So I wonder if they took this information and filed it away with Ben Peterson's suggestions as well. Hey, don't call us, we'll call you.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one person who watched that video,
Ben
Ben
Peterson.
Peterson.
That's right.
Tell you right
Ben.
now. And he probably was feeling so validated.
Yeah. Ben, I don't want to scapegoat you. It seems to me like this is what you do. This is your expertise, and maybe someone's not getting the picture. So I hope that's not the case. Anyway.
And so, Ben, what we're if our interpretation is valid, we're asking you to be more assertive.
Yeah. Stand up to Kyle Shanahan, and if he doesn't like it, go back to the Flyers. What do you need? This is just making your resume look bad. You're the guy who gets teams healthy, and you're now the trainer for the most injured team in the league. It's not helping your resume. So stand up for what's right.
Yes, that's how we feel, Ben. I don't know you, but that's how I feel. Oh, you got a comment. Let me see here.
We got a comment. Chris Royal says, Jimmy should start, and we can use the starting job to get him to restructure. Look, Jimmy, restructure and be a starter, or we release you and you back up someone for far less than what we will pay you.
Sounds good to me.
I like it, Chris. That's a very good outside the box suggestion. Thank you.